Hi everyone, how are you? I just have to say that I reached 705 subbies today. This is something I never thought I could do. I am so thankful for each and every one of you. And I feel like sometimes I feel so bad that, like, if something takes me longer to explain, I feel really bad because I don't want to waste anybody's time. I feel that you are giving me the gift of your time when you watch one of my videos. And when you're giving me that time, I just hope that I'm giving you something in exchange, just food for thought, um, something different to think about. I was spoiled today because I loaded 2 videos. I am doing my other little series where I am reading Casey Anthony's letters to her former cellmate, Robyn Adams. And so I did that video, and then I also did my visual of the size and whatnot of SW's fetus in ways that maybe other people can understand. Yes, it's a yogurt container, and yes, it's got, regular scotch tape and whatnot. But for me, that is how I break things down. Like, if I don't understand a concept, I will literally go get some construction paper, tape, glue, whatever, and make it into something that I can literally touch and feel to understand a concept. And some people, that would never make a difference to them. They would be like, well, why didn't you understand it this way or whatever? It's just the way my brain works. I don't know. I like to be able to touch and feel things. I'm very visual. And so I had some extra time today. So I was able to keep up with the comments. And they started this morning because I loaded up 2 videos. And I got all these comments right away that people were happy that I loaded 2 videos because they wanted to hear me. And you guys are saying things like, you guys like rewatch other videos and stuff because you guys wanted things. I thought that I had put out too many videos and was boring you guys. And so I had no idea that you guys would like it if there was more than one even, or more than one even in a week. I had no idea. So thank you so much. Um, I'm just so encouraged. And the conversations today were so fun. I had so much fun. Um, One person you guys may or may not have seen was taking every single video and commenting on it and telling me where I was wrong in their opinion and whatnot. And I just want to say that, um, this is an entertainment and educational program. That's my disclaimer. 80% of it is true, 20% is bull, or 80% of it is bull and 20% is true. That is the beauty of me having my own channel and having it be for entertainment and education. I am almost completed with my master's in forensic psychology. I have done work that I will explain to you guys at some point. In many ways, I had to be very professional and hold myself to a different standard than most would have at my age. And for all of the papers and scholarly articles I've written and read and everything, my language is there when it needs to be. Okay? I am not a professor teaching a course right now. And when somebody starts a comment with, "You're wrong," on my channel, let me remind you, it's a privilege, not a right, to comment on my channel. And sure, I could have probably been at 3,000 subscribers by now, but those that I've allowed to comment on my channel are 700 of the people that I find most valuable and who have the capacity to have an adult discussion. My watch time is there. I have over 15,000 hours of watch time. My watch time is 3 times what it should be. I work hard to put together good content. When I do, I have my notes and I've checked my facts, and I put things together in a way in which I hope that it's easy for you to hear. I hope that you understand that there's sarcasm and satire and whatnot. And when it hits a person who doesn't, and they come for me and they really, want to tear every single thing that I've said apart, I would rather not have them on the channel. I have seen so many creators start out with such energy and creativity, and to listen to them now having to measure every word that they say because they are dependent on a super chat from somebody, and they don't want to piss that person off, or piss that person off because they're giving them this super chat. And I understand that's gas money. And believe me, I need gas money for all the times I have to take my child to the lake and all through the summer and everywhere else. Believe me, I need it. But you know what? I don't want to be a sellout. I want to say what I want to say. And I want to say it in a way in which I would be talking to a friend. I consider you 700 my friends. And I wouldn't go to your channels or anybody's channel for that matter and say, you're wrong, this is that, when arguably the thing that somebody just told me was wrong doesn't have a right or wrong answer at all. It's something that both sides have argued is wrong or is right. It's not an exact science. And when I was told today that I didn't understand, and maybe if I understood more about the way that the law works and whatnot, let me remind you, I have 2 bachelor's degrees, one in criminal justice and one in psychology. I'm a law school dropout. I'm almost finished with my master's in forensic psychology. I do not work because my body is not where my mind is. I don't have a professional job that trolls are going to come after me for, like they are for every other creator, that they're controlling what they say. I want to be able to have the freedom of speech on my channel. And if that means that somebody doesn't want to subscribe because they don't like the way that I speak freely, then that's okay. And I'll be fine with 700 subscribers for the next 25 years. I'd rather have 700 like-minded people that can encourage each other. And I have always seen in my chats that you guys encourage each other, that you guys have a little camaraderie between you. I have never seen what was happening on my channel happen before today. And I am sorry if you guys had to see that for too long. I did do my best to just kind of, cajole the person a little bit and make sure that, I wasn't misreading. But then it came into, the person saying that I was being cruel and didn't know what I was talking about and everything. So it's over. It's done. I'm sorry if you guys had to see that. With that being said, I appreciate all of you. And I want you all to know that as a creator and as a person who's watched YouTube forever, but just recently started my own channel here. As you know, I have the other channel specifically to troll that animal abusing, nasty troll of a woman. I've had that for, 2 years now? But as far as my own channel being dedicated to the things that, are really important to me, this is my first YouTube channel for that. And I am very, very careful of what I say. It may sound like I am just, making stuff up. Maybe I make up a lot of stuff. Maybe who knows? But what I'm telling you is that I know what I'm saying. And when I go to other people's channels, I know what I'm saying there too. And I respect that person's channel as if it was their own house. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be complimenting that person because, they're beautiful. I think everybody's just very attractive, other than myself at this point. But 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna look at someone and be like, "Wow, you're really pretty." But and also to just compliment them, because it's not easy being standing up and speaking out and providing a place for others to come together to talk. It's not easy. And so I've compared this before to a cable channel, where I have hundreds of channels on my TV. Right now I have Tubi and Netflix and um the Discovery Channel and uh everything, right? And then I have my own cable and everything else. So, there's all these things, and I'll just see what sounds good. And if I'm watching something that doesn't sound good, I'll change the channel. And I think people should treat YouTube the same and stop coming for creators and attacking them and whatnot. It's their own space, it's their own creative um, outlet, really. And just change the channel. And there is room for everybody to have their own channel. If you are inspired by something that I've said and you want to start your own channel and talk about things in the way that you have, wonderful. I get a little testy when people copy me, so be careful, because I don't want to have to come and swat you down like a bug. But if it just makes you start your own channel, and then you drop me a little line and say, hey, because you spoke out, I want to talk too, and maybe give me a listen when you can, or whatever. There is room for everybody on YouTube to do that. Just go to the I use my camera, my Samsung Android camera, and I go to camera and I push record on the video part. And then I upload that to my YouTube channel. It's that easy. I want to try to be brave enough to do some lives after my surgery, because I won't be able to use my right arm at all after the rotator cuff repair and getting the bone spur out and the bicep reattachment. So I won't be able to use my right hand to write or anything. I'll be in the splint and whatnot. And so I'm hoping that I'll just be able to be propped up in my bed and I can have my laptop. And my laptop is my, newest thing that I got, for this adventure. My husband bought me one last month. And I'm still trying to figure out how to use it, but because I do everything on my phone. But I hope that I can do some lives and then just kind of scroll through the lives, and then maybe you guys can ask me some questions and stuff of what you wonder. And I'm a pretty open person, to the point in which where I'm still protecting myself where I live and what I look like right now, just because there'll be a time when you have to see it, and just enjoy right now where you get to see things like this. Look at this Scentsy warmer here. It's the Villain Scentsy. I just love it. So the disclaimer's already been done. Oh gosh, this is what happened, is I forgot to say no twats on my channel. If you're a twat, you just go to a different channel, okay? This is a no twat zone. So anyway, talking about these cellmate letters. So now we will be on our fourth installment of the Casey Anthony letters to her cellmate, Robyn Adams. Robyn Adams was her cellmate, and they weren't sharing a room. So let's say that, there's a pod. The way that I'm understanding this is that Casey was in, it sounded like she was in the psych area where she was not in general pop. And Robyn Adams and her husband, former Altamonte Springs police officer, were sentenced to 10 years for a marijuana grow operation. Doesn't sound like Robyn has any kind of criminal background or criminogenic nature of any kind. So it seems to me that the correctional officer, Sylvia, what's her name? I gotta look at this. Sylvia Gonzalez, formerly Hernandez, probably went to Robyn and was like, hey, because in these letters last night, we were seeing that they put Robyn up to pulling a joke on one of the sleeping corrections officers. So they see Robyn as somebody in there that, isn't a methed up weirdo career criminal, whatever, right? They see her in there as somebody who kind of got a raw deal, and they're using her to kind of say, hey, why don't you go get close to Casey? She could use somebody to talk to. Go over there, be her mentor, be her best friend. See what you can find out. Maybe, just maybe, you can talk to her, and maybe you can use that to get yourself out of here and see your kids. And Sylvia was like, you know what, and maybe these things will be worth money, and then maybe there'll be money for you when you come out. But, would you just mind giving me a little tip of that? I am assuming that that's what happened here to allow this, because why else would Sylvia Hernandez, formerly Gonzalez, or Sylvia Gonzalez, formerly Hernandez, why else would she do this? Unless she was kind of thinking, And so that's what's going on there. So this is going to be part 4. We're going to go into part 4. And last night, I noted that in one of Casey's letters, she mentioned that her brother Lee, that word Lee is just in every weird case, there's got to be a Lee or a middle name Lee or a Lee. Her brother Lee was getting very close to I don't want to mix this up. To Joshua Duckett. That was Trenton Duckett's father. Okay? And I remembered it, and I wanted to make sure it was the right one that I was thinking about, because there were many high-profile missing children cases out of Florida in that time frame. There was kind of a cluster of them. So I wanted to be sure that I was right in what I was thinking, and I did. I went and looked real quick. And so it was in 2006, actually, so before Kaylee was missing, the Trenton Duckett case happened. Now, I don't think they've ever found the remains of Trenton. I could be wrong. I didn't look that far today. But if he were alive, he would be 18 years old right now. I looked at an article, and it was a year ago when it said he would be 17. So I added a year. So he would be 18. So what had happened there was in Leesburg, Florida. Honestly, what is this Lee thing? So in 2006 in Leesburg, Florida, Melinda Duckett and her husband Josh were in the middle of a nasty divorce. Okay? And their son, Trenton Duckett, was 2 years old. Melinda claimed that she put Trenton to bed. And when she went to look a few hours later, Trenton was missing. And she said, oh, he must have been abducted through that window there. Somebody must have came in and took him. Now, Josh said, no way. No way. You did something to him, you nasty, rotten whore. I mean, they fought. These two fought like no one's business, right? And so, good old Nancy Grace got on the case. And it was a bombshell tonight, every night, okay? And Nancy got her teeth in that Melinda Duckett and did not let up, okay? Bombshell tonight. 21-year-old mother, Melinda Duckett, is implicated in, can you guys remember it? Well, Melinda Duckett decided to go and unalive herself. She did so to spite her husband. I believe she did so to spite her husband and never to give up what had happened to Trenton or where she buried him. I believe she knew exactly what she did with him. I believe it's a case very similar to the one that we're watching right now about Quentin. I think that she unalived him and put him in the garbage. I That is my theory. Um, so the family blamed my personal hero and mentor, Nanners, Nancy Grace. And so they did, in fact, sue our Nanners. And there was a settlement in favor of the family of $200,000. And it was stated that those monies would go to a fund to find Trenton. It was not a triumphant, we sued you, Nanners, and you need to shut your mouth. Nothing like that. It was a out of court, okay, maybe I pushed too hard. Maybe the pressure of, the media pushed in a person who was already teetering on the edge over the edge. Okay. Now, I didn't like it because it was the perfect scapegoat for her family to say, look, because of what Nanners did, then Melinda did this. No. Melinda was in the middle of a horrible divorce, and she was implicated in the disappearance of her 2-year-old son. Her story didn't hold up. She was under the microscope. The pressure was high. That's what made her take that step. Did the media pressure help push her over there? Yeah. And I'm sure that that's where they looked. They could say, okay, if this factor was not there, if the media was not looking, would this have happened? No. So, you could see where that could be there. And I'm sure that they just kind of said, you know what, we're going to settle this out of court. Let's give some money so that they can, have this to find that child. We've made a lot of money on this at Headline News Network. We'll be more careful about our language and more sensitive to the accused in the future. And that was fine until Tot Mom came along. So yeah. So what would be a reason for Lee, Casey's brother Lee, to become close to Joshua Duckett? Well, they both had missing children, but then of course that would infer that Lee was the father. And that was ruled out. We must remember that was ruled out. So I guess they could say that they were bonding together because they know the pressure of the media, and maybe Joshua said, hey, these people are great to help you find your missing child, whatever. I don't know. It's curious to see how that was. And I would like to know, was that when Kaylee was still missing that their friendship was forged, or was that afterwards? And was there an angle where Joshua was saying, Nanners is at it again. I was able to sue her. Here's how you can too. Because Lee took some heat, and he should. I never really liked him. Curious nonetheless, right? I'm drinking one of my favorite drinks. Let me see if I can show it to you. This Bai. You guys like Bai coconut? It's Molokai coconut. Soapy water used to have this really good coconut water. And like I don't like regular coconut water. That's just kind of weird and I don't kind of well, you know what it tastes like. You know what it looks like. It's white and kind of gooey. But oh. You know, they say that's good for your skin. Anyway, Soapy Life Water, they had to stop it because the coconut was getting all moldy in the bottom. It was so gross. Because I loved it and I would buy it by the case and whatnot. And then every once in a while I'd see this kind of like green, like little floater thing. And then I'd open it. It would smell like mold. And I'd be like, what? And so, you know, I was calling their quality control at the time and they were trying to figure it out too. And then they pulled it from the market. And I was like, whoa, boys, I didn't mean for you to do that. I really liked it. I think we had a great thing here, but we need to just make sure that, you know, it's all being sealed properly so I'm not drinking mold, you know? So this is kind of the next best thing. And it even says on this side, it says it's like an exotic flavor that sends your tongue on a tropical tastecation. Well, there you have it. Throws any doubt. So here we go into part 4 of the Casey cellmate letters. Without further ado, here we go. And I am on page 185 of 258. There were 258 scanned in letters, side letters, weird little notes. It shows the envelopes and where they were sent. The addresses of where they were sent is blacked out. But there is a lot of stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one from Casey. And I hope I'm not repeating myself at all. But here we go. Here we are, my CMA voice. Oh boy, if I hear Beyonce's If I Were a Boy one more time, what the hell is the point of that song? I mean, really, most pointless song ever. And while I'm on music, Christmas songs in mid-November, if only we were living at the North Pole and working for Santa, only then would that be acceptable. I can't understand our society sometimes. Oh yes, Peggy Post, aren't you just a frickin'... Anyway, hey girly, how are you? I'm trying not to completely demolish the $12 bag. I think I have a terrible case of the munchies. I think it's period time. That would explain so much. I am so glad and so thankful for the other night. Man, we both needed that. The book is extremely helpful. Thank you again for that. And I had no idea how big Tom and Katie's daughter had gotten. She reminds me so much of my baby. Hold on. Tom and Katie? She means Tom Cruise and Katie. What was her name? Well, obviously Katie Cruise before. Yeah, I do remember their baby. And it did have black hair. It did look like a little Kaylee. You're right. You're right. I agree with you here, CMA. She reminds me so much of my baby, and I had no idea. It reminds me, okay, I saw my attorney last night and no new updates. Well, not really. I'm constantly trying to figure out what's going on with my mama. She was going to give an inside look into my home life to Channel 9 of all stations. Oh, she was going to give an inside look into my home life to Channel 9 of all stations. I can't believe she's actually doing it or actually did it last night. I guess the story was supposed to be about how things were when I was home. Lord knows she's trying to help, but I really don't see what good it's going to do. Anything positive they dissect and throw away, only after twisting whatever crap they can of it. I need to go home already. I keep praying for you. Stay encouraged and stay strong. I'm glad that you've been able to have so many visits. How's your mom doing? Well, I hope. I know your babies miss you, and for good reason. You're a great mommy. You'll be with them soon. This too shall pass. You know what I can't stop laughing about? Your comment about being the cream in the Cadbury egg. Classic. Speaking of chocolate and filling, there's this new Hershey's product, Squares, with the creamy peanut butter. Torture between that commercial, the ones from Steak and Shake yesterday, and oddly enough, Golden Corral. How funny. I agree with you, CMA. Golden Corral does hit the spot once in a while. My tummy is in a frenzy. I can't wait to shave my legs tomorrow. The simple pleasures. Keep smiling, love. Love ya. Flusheronies. Remember the song, Caress Me Down? That put a smile on my face today. And then there's a sticker and it says, The joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8:10. Worth keeping. Now this just goes, and she's copied a lot of Bible verses, and she's copying a bunch of stuff about the different types of love and devotion and definitions of love. And then here we go. I saw my attorney tonight. Jose, number 1. Things are not going so well at home. My mom thinks my dad lost his job because he hasn't worked in 2 weeks. Her leave of absence is under review, and she hasn't received a check since October. And my brother is miserable. He was sad all day on his birthday, and he's trying to be okay for my mom, but she knows better. I'm so glad that he has his girlfriend. God, I love that girl. They talked my mom into having Thanksgiving dinner at my house, even though she wasn't planning on doing anything. I'm happy they are sticking closely together. I really need to go home. And then she writes off to the side. We find strength in our moments of weakness. I'm feeling the weakness, not much strength. Sad face. And she says, my house. You know, she says, my house. Side note here. Do you guys remember when she was telling her friends that her parents were basically going to go and travel and leave the house to her? And so she was going to let a couple of roommates move in and they were just going to have the house. My mom wants me to see medical about the lump. She's worried because it's obvious that I'm concerned. I miss them so much. My brother is talking about coming to see me. I can't say that I would turn down that visit. I kept it together when I read my mom's letter, but now I'm not doing so well. My mom isn't sure if she and my dad are going to stay together. After watching his interview with the FBI, fuck! And there's like frown faces. I'm sorry I had to vent. Why are we going through all of this? My mom still tells me to worry about my stuff and to stay strong and that they all love me so much. Home. I hate being sad and I hate feeling so damn helpless. I'll be home in a few weeks because I can't take this. Oh, poor you. I can't take this thing holding me back. It's a stupid media. Blah. And then she writes in this thing with a little supernatural talk on 104.1. Ghosts and such. Silly. How are you, love? Good, I hope. I've barely eaten in 3 days. Stupid yucky food. Snacks just aren't cutting it. Oh well. Jose number 2 wants to sneak me in some food. What a guy. Side note here, Tabitha Jane. Can you believe, do you guys remember when, I think it was Nancy Grace talking about how, like, somebody looked in and supposedly saw Jose number 1, Baez, and Casey eating a piece of licorice, Lady in the Tramp style. Like that was Lady in the Tramp, that famous scene, and they're like, eating the spaghetti noodle and their faces come together. The old Nanners was saying they were doing that with a piece of licorice. But then, it was rumored that she was running around his office buck naked. I mean, it gets hot in Florida, I guess. What else are you supposed to do with that? I hate humidity. Okay. So here over in the margins, here's my idea. Start clicking your heels together and say there's no place like home. Last night, major bummer, but my visit went great. It's always nice to have a good distraction, good conversation, lots of jokes and laughs. The dimples, huh? I'm lonely. Sad face. Should I have my mom come in on Thursday, or should I call? Should I do either? Neither? Both? The only way we were all wondering what my problem was, and finally they were wondering why I suddenly lost my appetite. 3 Cokes later, I was able to eat. This place ruins you in every way possible. Bastards. I'm really sick of being watched. Now I know how fish feel. They drop food into our bowl, tap on our glass, and all we can do is swim around and gasp for air. This stupid, stupid place has made me loco. I'm waiting for Jose #2 to come by soon. You gotta catch a peek at the dimples Fernandez and I joke about. For a 40-year-old, he sure doesn't look it, and he graduated from high school the year I was born. Ha ha! Oh boy, get me out of here. I'm sweating my butt off. What a day. Ciao. CIAO with a heart. They were all wondering what my problem was, and finally, to them, I was suddenly losing my appetite. Okay, what? Oh, this was scanned in twice. Okay, I got it. Sorry. All-time favorite band, favorite ice cream. I want ice cream. Sad face. Take 2. Well, at least the bread was warm, not drenched in whatever the food is supposed to be, and my cookies were in prime condition too. I don't know how I survived before. I think I knew that the only food I was getting was going to come in a takeout box. It's so hard to look at them the same when you're home, believe me. The first day I went to Jose's office, we got takeout from this amazing Spanish restaurant down the street from the office. And when it finally came, I almost cried when I saw the stupid white tray. Oh no, not another sideways ink weird thing. Just basically says, hello, my friend. I hope that you had a great visit. Looking forward to see my folks. The Bucks won today. I was listening to the game on there, and there's finally something good on the news. She's suffering for something, and she's going on about with no hours of sleep. And dinner is almost here, and she's silently something while she writes. Looks like another night of snacking. There's just it's like written over other ink. It's really weird, and I don't know if she ran out of paper and she started doing that. And she said, what I wouldn't do right now for a cold beer, an apple martini, and chocolate cheesecake. Whoa, that chocolate cheesecake does sound good. See, I do agree with you. And then that's a double. They redid that, and then that's a covered up. There's a few things here that have the big blackouts, and I think that's just protecting of addresses or where else these letters were. And then, can you please tell me why none of these chicks can manage to keep their clothes on? What the fuck? My eyes. Try with the Jane here. See, I was just talking about, it's hot there. What the fuck else are you supposed to do? I mean, honestly, when it gets, especially like in Florida, it's like that kind of humidity where, if you like put powder under your boobs or something, it becomes a pancake mix within a freaking hour. And you have boob pancakes and everything. I mean, I cannot stand humidity. I freaking hate it. And boob sweat and crotch sweat and fat roll sweat and everything else. I don't know what to do about sweat and humidity. I hate it. I can't even say that I like winter because, then sometimes you have to dress in layers. And when are you ever really in the cold? Because, it's just from where you go from the house to the car or the car to your work or the car to the store, whatever. And then you can get sweaty and everything there too. I don't know. I just need like maybe a moderately snowy day. I had the best time ever when I skied Mount Bachelor. in a t-shirt. My ski pants and a t-shirt. Well, then there was the other unfortunate aspect of that. This is still me talking, guys. I just had a flashback. Um, so I was spring skiing and I had never spring skied before. I'm a really terrible skier. I was probably one of the reasons why that my shoulders all torn up. Everything's torn. I'm so bad at skiing, and 3 and 4 year olds make fun of me all the time because they're like whipping past me, while I'm laying there in a huddle by myself, trying to get back up. And I don't know how those little whippersnappers jump off of the ski lift chairs and stuff. I mean, those scare me to death, and it took me a long time to, be able to ski off of the chair on the lift. But anywho, so spring skiing was my jive because I do crash so much. It wasn't bad being, on my back. Wasn't bad being on my back then. Oh, might as well just put a mattress on it. Anyway, so there was spring skiing, thinking this is wonderful. This is what I was built to do. And this lady says to me, "Did you put sunscreen on?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, there is snow out here, and I realize that it's a little bit sunny, but why would I need sunscreen? Can you indulge me?" And she's like, "No, really, you need sunscreen." And I'm like, "Actually, I kind of need a tan." And she's like, "No, honey, you need sunscreen." And she's like, "Here, I have some extra. Let me give you some." And here she is. So what am I going to do, right? She put it like right in my freaking hand. So I couldn't exactly, just like put it back in the snow. So I humored her and put it on exactly half my face. And then she, skied off like a normal person would. She skied off. And so I put on half my face. Damn it if I didn't wake up the next day looking like the Phantom of the freaking Opera. Because the area where I put the sunscreen was not burnt, like 2nd degree, 3rd degree, whatever it is when it face blisters. So the one eye was like blistered shut in like a whole blister of itself, and red, peeling, and weeping, and the sunscreen area was not. And just terrible. Both my arms were severely sunburned and stuff, and my scalp was sunburned. I didn't know. Who would know, right? So I really like spring skiing other than that. And unfortunately, I was starting a new job that week. And so, I went to Mount Bachelor in Oregon, and then, I lived in Washington State, and I went back and I started my job. And I had to start disfigured like that, a Phantom of the Opera face. And I saw people, glancing at me and wondering, and I didn't really know how to address it, if not to address it or whatever. But as it healed, people really did come up to me. And they're like, "Oh, wow, I thought that you were a burn victim." Well, yes, I was. Yes, I was. We won't talk about the other sunburns I've had in my life right now, but we will at some point, okay? I promise you that. That's probably what some of these age spots are. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yes, because I was a big age spot on only one side of my forehead. And I'm like, what is it? Okay. It looks like a shit smear. And so that's what it probably is. It's probably that freaking sunburn. Dang it. And so, okay, back to the CMA letters. "Morning, how are you doing today? They're getting ready to bring lunch." This chick's always hungry, man. "I pray every morning for you and for you to have a relaxing day. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. There's not much else to do besides relax, sleep, write, read, and listen to some tunes. I hope you missed the show later. I have no clue what time you came back in, but another fiasco from the north. And then at least I'm not being picky about what side it's coming from. Never a dull moment. At least it takes, and it's easier to ignore or drown out the audio. My journal for today will be interesting. I'm so glad I have my goodies back. I was starting to worry yesterday, or at least in that mentality. I just missed having junk food. How sad." Oh, just like me, I'm extremely unshocked about the lack of privacy here. I'll tell you more about that later. It's so bad. I have a certain resource So, guys, that's like one of those weird side things again. I have a certain resource. Let me see here. Doing some digging for me. At least our secret. Oh man, they don't make this easy. At least our secret is still safe. And what does she say here? Enjoy, Winky. It was sent to me from a friend, and it is definitely unlike anything you've ever read about a teddy bear. And it's just so weird. It's like all on the side and whatnot. It doesn't say anything other than something in the spelling in the air and blah 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 blah. And this spelling bee, it doesn't really say anything worthwhile. And then my top 3 bands of all time: Seven Dust, Fuel, and Disturbed. Again, it's all ink blotted and like I think that she wrote on one side and then the other and in black ink, which CMA, I gotta love a girl who writes in black ink. But I think that, so it's lined paper and it's like wide, and she writes, like each character of everything is one whole, entire line, width of the line. So I think she writes everything on the back of one and then goes to the other. Paper must be very scarce there, obviously. And so sometimes it's just kind of hard to read when they scanned it in because you're looking at a lot of interference, if you will. So, and then she says, but I love my Huey Lewis and the News. I don't like Huey Lewis and the News. Pearl Jams and a little Tenacious D and Linkin Park. Best concert ever, Papa Roach. And another thing here, just a sideways thing. Just about praying and comfort. And that, she's a survivor and she's a survivor, and hold strong in your faith. Man. As far as I see it, you are one incredible woman for trusting your own heart over what other people say. When it comes to your husband, no one can look down on you or should try to convince you that by sticking with your man that you're doing something wrong. You love him. It's so obvious. I only hope that I can find that love one day. Don't give up on him as long as there is still the tiniest ounce of love in your heart. You'll get your miracle. I know you will. I feel it in my heart. We're going to do big things together. We're going to help so many people. Here's to second chances. Yes, CMA in the traveling ministry. Saving missing children. True love is unconditional. I praise you for supporting Clay. It just shows how strong you are and how strong your love is. You get through this. You will, both of you. And I pray that you make it through every trial together. I still recommend writing to him, mailing that letter to a friend, and having them mail it to him for you. A real friend will do you that favor. Stay encouraged, love. There is a silver lining to this cloud, and we will share the same love of sunsets too. That lovely purple blue. And I can't wait for us. I can't wait. I can't believe it's almost here. As a Christian, prayer is a constant in my life. Not a day goes by when I don't conduct some kind of conversation with God, no matter how quiet and casual with God. I have to be. And the family that blessed me with, what he blessed me with, will help me. Dan Quayle, former Vice President of the United States, 88 to 1992, under the Bush administration. This just fits. And then another little one. His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. A shortest distance between 2 points is a leap of faith. Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean and just watched the waves come in? God's love is like waves, constant, steady, sure. He says his mercies are new every morning, every day, like a new wave of the ocean. Mercy, grace, and faith. You're going to laugh at me. I've started counting calories, but here's why. We may actually be able to survive on junk food and drink mixes. Isn't that fabulous? Yeah, I was bored and hungry and started to wonder if junk food really is that bad for you. Turns out it's not. The things we need to watch for out for is too much saturated fat. And sodium. Otherwise, other than that, it's probably 100% better for us to eat our commissary than all three regular meals. I doubt there's enough necessary nutrients to energize a turtle. Here's the list that I found. For 2,000 calories. Total fat, 65 grams. Carbs, 300 grams. Saturated fat, 20 grams, and fiber, 25 grams. Cholesterol, 300 milligrams. Sodium, 2,400 milligrams. We need as much protein as we can get. I'm going to explode. I just want to scream. For those idiots to stay out of the vents, I'm honestly getting a headache. It baffles me that they continue to get with it. You can hear them outside of our cells. I need a freaking break. Sorry I had to vent. I know I just can't sympathize. I'm in a pretty difficult space at the moment. Hearing more about my folks on the radio. They'll be on Larry King tonight, Wednesday. And then later this week, my pre-trial starts tomorrow. I'll be signing my waiver so I don't have to attend. I can't wait to talk to you. I miss my friend. I'll also be worrying about my right to a speedy trial. I'll also be waiving my right to a speedy trial. I can't believe it's already been a week. And now into December. So depressing. I feel like such a... What? Such a... Something, I don't know. Sadly, it's one of those days. I crave some normalcy. Some bit of real life. Someday we'll both have our miracle. It's so hard to look at the bigger picture sometimes, but it's necessary. I'm praying for you, and I hope you're doing all right. I love you, hon. My allergies have kicked in, and they've kicked my butt up the block. What a day. Music trivia. God, this chick's brain, man. Her brain is like a freaking hamster. Music trivia. What was the longest song to ever reach #1? Rod Stewart was once a member of which band? Steam Packet, Strawberry Alarm Clock, Hermits, or Bubba and the Bad Boys? What is the best-selling instrument in the world? What is the top-selling single of all time? What is the last note on a keyboard? What band was once called the Golden Gate Rhythm Section? What band was once called Feedback? When was the LP invented, and what was the name of John Lennon's first girlfriend? What did Juice Newton's husband do? He worked the morning train, didn't he? Oh. Oh, it's that iconic, beautiful picture of Kaylee where she's got her hand on her chin. And God, that child was beautiful with those beautiful big brown eyes and just those perfect lips. And that was a picture that Casey took. So she wrote, "Angels may watch over my Kaylee. She gives me strength." Father, I pray that your angels may watch over my Kaylee. Wow. And then it's just in here, and she's like, we will get our miracles. This is 12 of 2008. We will get our miracles, if not both separately. But now we are together. You show me what it is to know God, what obstacles are staring at me in the face. And you can always put a smile on my face. I admire you because you are not... You will never give up on someone I greatly admire, and I will help you in any way I can in our growing friendship and your hope. Keep your head up high. I am so very thankful that even not much time for both of us that we have found each other and he has placed his hand on your shoulder. Pray every day for your miracle. It is within reach. Remember, he gives us our strength in our moments of weakness. Never leave us. One of the things that has brought me the greatest comfort is Matthew 5-3-12. And in my all-time faves is Ecclesiastes. I can't say it. I'm missing a tooth and I got wax all over the others. Don't cut me. It's Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes. You know that word? I can't say it right now. Ecclesiastes 4.9-12. All right, finally, one that's just straight on. Praise Jesus. Okay, here we go, folks. I'm going to take a little drink of coconut water. Now that we finally have one that I can read straight instead of having to sit there and try and twist it around and read through all the ink weirdos. Okay, here we go. I've hit an all-time low and have slipped into a depression that only God can bail me out of. Every time I look at my kids, I just break down. Oh, is this Robyn? Ooh, I couldn't tell because of the ink smears. Ooh, okay. So I got to get out of the Casey Anthony voice. Oh, hold on for a second. Oh, good Lord. I think I just pulled out a gray hair out of my head. You can just tell because they're like, why do gray hair... This is me talking off the side, not in the letter. Tabitha Jane here. Why do gray hairs have to come in like freaking pubes? Like, the rest of my hair right now is straight. And then, I just, ran my hair through and this one came out, and it's this long, like, curly, thick, wiry, freaking, like, a 12-inch pube. Like, why do grays come in the shape and texture of pubes? That's a question for the ages, isn't it? Why? And then I have to tell you guys this because of me having that flu, I just could not wash my hair. I did manage to get into a bath a few days ago, but my hair I couldn't wash it. and I was out of dry shampoo. And my little friend, my little birdie, told me that Moroccan oil makes a good dry shampoo. And I just love the smell of Moroccan oil stuff anyway. So I'm going to get that. I'm a little bit sick of the Batiste dry shampoo. I love dry shampoo. But one of the dry shampoos I have is from Lush. You guys know what Lush is? It's a little store in the mall. It's got bath bombs. Oh, expensive as bath bombs. But anyway, their dry shampoo is non-aerosolized. It's just in this little thing, and it's essentially like baking soda, lime, and lemon, something else, right? So I got this idea in my head because I've been, rinsing my mouth out with salt and baking soda. I was like, why don't I just put some baking soda in my hair? Because I was going out on date night. Don't have it in me to wash my hair. I was clean still for my bubble bath. So I just put some baking soda in my hands and rubbed it all through my hair and brushed it. My hair never looked so good. And it even, looked good on my highlights, which are majorly overgrown right now. And I was like, wow, I bet you that really is all it's in the Lush one. And just, like it says, some lime, like lime powder and lemon to kind of make it smell good. But all you need to do is absorb the oil. And I learned this from being sick because having sepsis twice, each time I had sepsis, it caused my hair to fall out almost entirely in clumps and clumps and clumps. And so I just have to, get it cut really short and then regrow it and regrow it. And through being sick and whatnot, I just could not wash my hair that often. Like I say, using dry shampoo and brushing it and whatnot. I learned that my hair does so much better and grows so much stronger, healthier, the less I wash it. I mean, I used to be a person, got up, washed my hair every day, blow dried it, curled it, all that good stuff, even wore makeup. But once I stopped washing my hair that often, like I say, it's a game changer. And so now I'll probably I'll probably actually wash my hair with a deep conditioner with a shower cap. So I give it a good heat treatment, probably only once a week, and then just dry shampoo the other days, and brushing it out good. And it's really in a good position. COVID caused my hair to fall out terribly, and I had to get 9 inches cut out. Um, in the layers, in the longest layers, it was 9 inches that was cut out. It was just so frustrating because I'd gotten it to a good point and then got COVID and then had to get it all cut out. And it was terrible. I mean, I'd wake up, my pillowcase would just have, clumps of hair in it and everything. And that's a big side effect with COVID. I think they say 15% of the population that had COVID has hair loss as a side effect. But that's because people don't know that that's an actual side effect. So they probably haven't really linked that together. Because my one friend, she thought she was actually dying and was making a doctor's appointment, and told me that she thought she was dying because her hair's all falling out and everything. And I was like, how long ago did you have COVID? And I showed her, and Alyssa Milano did a really good video that showed how bad COVID hair loss is. And I commend her for showing it because her hair looked really bad. My friend's hair looked really bad like that. So yeah, now I've got a year of regrowth, and my colorist, he would not color my hair. He said, your hair right now is just an absolute crisis, and so, we can't color it, and it'll just rebel more. So I went almost 9 months without getting it colored, and then just had him do just the top and front pieces, not a full color. I haven't had a full color then in a year, and I'm just waiting until after my surgery. So the first of the year I'll get it cut and colored, but until then, I just look like a house mouse, mousy brown. Okay, back to the CMA letters. Here we are. Okay, so we're on the Robyn letter. And like I say, I didn't notice it because it was all ink smeared and everything. But then, oh, okay, this is nice handwriting. It's not all weird, not all over the place. Okay, here we go. So this is Robyn. And it doesn't say who she's writing it to. And so maybe this is to Casey. I don't know. She starts with, excuse me, I've hit an all time low and I've slipped into a depression that only God can bail me out of. Every time I look at my kids, I just break down. I got some bad news from my attorney the other day that my chances of serving less than 10 years are now 50% slimmer than they were before because I do not qualify for a safety valve from the judge. In parentheses, a leniency to drop the mandatory 10-year sentence. It seems as though reality is closer than ever, and I'm afraid to admit that God might put me in prison for that length of time. I understand that there are consequences for the mistake I made, but swallowing the pill of reality is now lodged in my throat, leaving me gasping for air as I continue to choke on the mistakes that has ruined my life. With all of the tears that I have cried, I'm certain that God is able to make a good-sized pond for ducks to shit in. Sorry, not funny. It's been so long since I've heard my first name called, and a last name that I'm actually allowed to use, and I'm used to from hearing from, even though I haven't had it, if long at all. In Galatians 5:22, the Bible reveals the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I feel like being here has shown me all of those fruits except for joy. My life has never experienced true joy. Happy times, yes, but never true joy. Almost as if there's been a black cloud hovering over me, allowing no light to shine through it, except for, of course, the fluorescent light that hangs in my cell. I just can't imagine 10 years of my life taken away from me and my kids. I believe that God has something better for me, but what if I'm wrong? I also believe that Clay and I would live happily ever after, but I was wrong about that. Although I love him still, everyone is against me even thinking of him. So when do our thoughts become forbidden? And when do consequences become condemnation? What exactly is jail for anyway? Is it meant to hold you in a place of confinement until you show remorse for your mistakes? Or is it just meant to hold you in solitude until you mentally go insane? And then there's the thought that you are punished for an extensive amount of time for making a small mistake. But because of it, you are now doomed to the pits of prison until you're forgotten about by friends and society. I think there are no real answers, and all of it is complete shit and just a way of making the problem, when in fact there are worse things to be concerned about. And then there's a picture of a candy cane in black and white, and I don't know why. Oh, it's a bunch of Casey writing down geography facts. Sideways, I just cannot. And then animal trivia, I cannot. And then she says, a big part of me wants to say bah humbug because of the upcoming holidays, but the little elf in me still is going to try to spread some holiday cheer. A friend of mine sent me some random trivia. Most of the answers I got wrong, but it was a good distraction nonetheless. There are 5 categories, each with 10 questions. I'll send the answers later so you can cheat. I tried. Enjoy. And then dog trivia. Oh my god. You know what? She's kind of corny. She really is. She's kind of corny. And then she's talking about, it says another sideways thing, and she's talking about Christmas and how, and it's also overthinking everything. So it's nothing important. It just says that, like, she has been sick a lot on the big day and for the last few years. And she said it's hot out. It's in the mid 80s. You know, of course, she's in Florida, so of course it's hot. And she said she is avoiding going somewhere, and she misses the fresh air. And she asked what she asked Santa for, and she wants a new bike and a big old chocolate cake. Should we pray for snow? Why not? I wonder what it's going to be like in here Christmas night. Maybe we can have a little talk time. Let's hope. Let's hope for someone willing. She said, I think the wedding is getting underway. So then time for her shower. Love you, homie. I don't know who would be getting married in there. And like I say, these ones are just sideways ones are just horrible. And then with all of it's like a shitty scanner, and maybe the scanner has ink on it at this point. Something's, but just got ink all over it. So like carbon. So anyway, here's another Robyn one. So thankful for everything? Question mark. One summer evening, a friendship was no more. Our best friend had to make the decision to favor his selfish love of money instead of what could have been a lifetime of friendship. Because of his betrayal, I was stripped of my life, my children, husband, parents, career friends, and a great reputation. During my time in jail, I have expressed my thoughts and feelings through my journals, but I find this one to be my favorite yet. Let me be thankful. First, because I've never been in jail before. Second, because although he took many days away, he did not take my life, my family, my imagination, or my hopes and dreams. Third, because I have lost some time that each day becomes my past. I still have a future to look forward to. Fourth, because it was I who was betrayed by trust and dishonesty, not that I was the betrayer of such. And fifth, because God has given me the strength to make it through each day. Have faith that I will be home again soon and that I have the ability to forgive. And then here we are with Casey. She's like the Energizer bunny, man. Go on. Sunday, January 3rd. I figured out why I get so emotional right when I read your poems, journals, and letters. They hit me like a tidal wave. Now don't jump to any conclusions. Just read the words again. Can you picture it? A whole mass of words fueled by such honest, raw emotion they could steamroll 1,000 people. Because those words, they hit you like a tidal wave, but in the best way possible. I'm talking about waves so strong that they not only soak your rolled up pant, but you get swept off your feet, left with the pleasure of knowing that you have been impacted by a great force. In those moments, you're taken on the journey of a lifetime. One you want to hold on to with every ounce of strength because it feels so good. It feels so right. The tidal wave of words and emotions does so many unexplainable things, but most importantly, it touches my heart and it fires the very depths of my soul. God has surely given you a gift, Missy, and I'm always amazed but never surprised by the talent that I see among so many other things. You are able to express feelings and thoughts that I can't even begin to put into words, not written nor spoken. And I swear, I know those are the gifts that He too has given me. The thing is, the thing that stands out so clearly for me every single day, I can always rely on your words for comfort. Our Father doesn't just speak to you, He speaks through you. And man, what an impact you have on me. You are going to do great things, my dear. Such great things, and I pray that I will be able to witness them firsthand. Each and every one of them. You are my sister in this life and every other. My cherished friend, my best friend. You truly have a remarkable soul. A point to ponder. God's love is like the waves, constant, steady, and sure. Each day we get a new wave of His mercy, grace, and love. It says Holly Girth. Oh God, not another sideways one. Oh. Sis, I can't wait to talk to you. I figured I'd just write in the meantime. Your court date is just around the corner. I'm so excited for you. I'm praying every day that you're happy, but will get your miracle. And then it's just around the bend, just around the corner. And I need a nap. I need to write my mom back, but I couldn't finish it. I can't seem to get the words right. I need to continue to pray about it. Every time I think about my mama, I have a big problem. And I gotta talk to you about it before you get this. No use worrying. I'm gonna keep my head glued to my Bible and to all positive things, letters, books, cards, etc. I miss my Kaylee. Man, those vent talkers, they're in my prayers. Right after I wrote that, they stopped. How funny! I miss my Kaylee so much, but knowing that she is waiting for me in heaven, honestly, it's a great relief. I cannot wait to see you with Josh. And Maddie. And me adopting them as my nephews and nieces. I already love them, and I love your parents. And the husband of yours, as I do my own family. You are one lucky girl. I'm happy that we're able to open up to the chaplain. She's so cool, and she gives encouragement and love, and I'm thankful for her. Her growing friendships, God's love is so incredible. They say that blood is thicker than water. True that, sis. The blood of our Christ is streaming down through our bodies. Our bond is unbreakable, friend. My sister, I love you. Stay strong and faithful. Here's to a brand new year and to a new beginning. God, she writes on everything. Like I said, she's a frenetic freaking writer, man. The vent talkers. Hey girl, I know you saw me earlier and I was pretty much a wreck. It's been coming and going a lot, which I guess is normal. It seems to come much faster than go, but I am coping nonetheless. Our talks help more than you know, and writing has made it a lot easier to deal with the multitude of emotions. I'm so terrified that one day I'll be asked how I got through all of this. Not because I'm afraid that I won't, but because I know that I will. Every morning I ask God to give me the strength to get me through each day. Sometimes I have to ask more than once, but I get through it. Whether I want to express it or not, I have faith. Always have faith. One day, hopefully soon, this trial will be over in my life and in yours as well, and we'll be able to continue to praise God for walking with us along the way. I know I'll have you to thank for it. It's funny. Some days I get so frustrated by the ignorance around us, and other days, like today, it just makes me laugh. Odd, right? On my worst days, I could care less about the idiots around us, but on my better days, I'm so mad that they try to spoil it. One thing I've noticed though is that they hate, and I mean absolutely hate, to see us happy. Maybe because you and I are in the minority, and not just because of the color of our skin. You got class girlfriend, something all of the darn chocolate around us surely is lacking. And our mutual friend, I hope that she can stay strong in her faith and overcome the obstacles in front of her. She may have changed, but she's back here for a reason. Maybe it's our jokes to help her. We're doing great by helping each other. At least we both know that she is willing to listen. I'd honestly love to talk to those around us and help them see the bigger picture. Part of me sees that being a big part of this, which is why, whether I'm having a good day or not, I need to remember to keep my head up and not take what they're saying personally. They're bullies, and bullies try to put people down to make themselves feel better. I know better, and I'm going to try harder to keep peace in my own heart so I can focus on how to get through our ever growing number of neighbors. I do miss the ones that could actually sing. Oh well. Anyway, hope you're doing well, love. Give your folks my best when you can. I'm praying for them and the munchkins. Even your hunky man. Does he have any cute brothers? Here's to hoping that we get a visit from Sandy Claus and maybe a gift or two. I'm almost hoping they hold all of our mail on purpose till Thursday. The simple pleasures. Get lots of rest, eat plenty of junk, and keep on keeping on. I love you, girl. I'm off to Betty Boo's. Bye. Night. Well, you're watching TV, you lucky, lucky soul, and I'm sitting here by my door ready to scream. I can't seem to get over the level of immaturity and ignorance that surrounds us at every corner. Give me a break. It's turned into the love line in my vents tonight. Seriously, it's taking all of my strength not to be banging my head against the door frame. Come back, sis. My radio isn't pulling its weight as of late, and how depressing. I just can't seem to listen for too long without the yelling and squawking and silliness escalating above my normal level. Dogs would hide with their tails between their legs after listening to all of this garbage at such ridiculous frequencies. Blah. How badly do you think I'd have to beg to get moved, or better yet, for us to become roomies? Granted, that might not work while we're in here, you and I. Sharing two drawers? No way, Jose. Now when we get our place, we both shall have disgusting big closets and two very glorious bathrooms. And the finishing touch, the kitchen of all kitchens. Deal? Man, it's not even two yet, but the annoying off-key singing and over the top. Cursing is never ending, or so it seems. Worst idea. Whose bright idea was it to partner all of the loudmouths up together? And Pearl is dropping the N-word. Ew. Make it stop. Please, God, make it stop. I'm going to stop complaining and patiently await your return. Hurry up already. Just kidding. I hope you get used to spending a little time in this crap hole. Because, girl, you're going home. I'll see you soon. Bye. And she writes this big gold teethy grin. After reading your letter Friday night, same night, I couldn't help but chuckle. We're both up snacking at all hours of the night. Silly. Ooh, and then here's this little thing, and it's mainly blocked out, but it's some kind of like a little, maybe one of the missing posters for Kaylee, and it says help find Kaylee, and it's got some pictures and the law enforcement numbers, it looks like, contacts. Most of it is blacked out, but that's what it looks like it was. And then another one. So It says Team Kaylee, help find Kaylee.com. And I think I remember when her parents, visited her and they brought her in the stuff, for her to see. That's probably what it is. And she's sharing it with Robyn. And then she drew, I'm thinking she drew this, or Robyn drew this. One of them is just an amazing freaking artist. And here's like it's a little gingerbread man and a little gingerbread woman. And it's very cute. I found these cute cards and such in a book I was reading, and unfortunately I figured finders keepers. Is that wrong? They were in one of the new books on the book cart, shrugs. At least now they're being put to good use. I've come to realize that I still draw like a 5-year-old unless I have markers or sidewalk chalk. I know where my talents lay. Better not open the envelope I gave you. It's the closest thing to a present I can give you besides a silly grin. She wrote a big old grin. I wonder what the day is going to bring us on a Thursday. Any ideas? As long as it's not Mariah Carey or her stupid All I Want for Christmas Is You song. Yuck. I agree with that, CMA. I may just break down and listen to Christmas music. Surprisingly, I never do. Since, sorry, this year is so unique, maybe changing things up a bit might be fun. Did you ever wear or do you wear Christmas PJs? I do. Every year. I miss my jammies. What's your fave Christmas memory? Love ya. Okay. Here's more frenetic writing, and it's straight out, so it's good, but it's just like so much ink blobs and whatever. So I was just brushing out my hair while I was reading. Our grandmas. This is me talking, not I'm not reading, but do you guys remember the old grandma's kind of tale that you should brush your hair out 100 strokes a day, at night? And back in the honestly, from the beginning of time, they had never washed their hair. I mean, when they were, they'd have a bath drawn, and they probably didn't wash their hair except for, frick, every couple of weeks or month. And they always had gorgeous hair, gorgeous long hair. And, I think there's something to it. I think that when we became a society that had, running water and everything all accessible, and, the 80s when we all were just doing our hair and ratting it up and having our mullets and everything. There was a time and place for it, but when I look back at it, our hair wasn't all that pretty. And now that, extensions were all the rage, and I had extensions, and it was a terrible experience. My hair is too fine, and the extensions were too heavy, so of course it caused most of my hair to fall out again. So once I got my extensions out, I had to have my hair all the way whacked down to the roots. So now the big thing is people just wear wigs. And I'm like too hot-blooded a person to wear a wig. But I wish I was good at braiding my hair. I can do a French braid, but not really anything else. I would love to just be able to wear braids. Kind of like Bo Derek did, those kind of braids. I had my hair, well, here we go. In Mazatlan, here we go with another sunburn story. In Mazatlan, my first time in Mexico, went into Mazatlan. And on the beach, these women were braiding hair, like Bo Derek style. And I was like, well, yes, I would love to have me some Bo Derek kind of hair. What can you do? And like for $10, they would, they'd do that. And, they cornrowed my hair. And I loved it, right? I was so happy for that moment in time. Well, of course, I didn't learn my lesson about the sunscreen from my Phantom of the Opera thing. So that time where I was just getting my hair braided alone The next day, I found, so the next day of my vacation, my scalp was so severely sunburned. My face, my chest, and my thighs, so where I was sitting and getting them braided, I was just right there in the Mazatlan hot sun with no sunscreen. Dumbass tourist that had never been to Mexico before. And literally, it hurt so freaking bad, right? And it hurt and it hurt. And each day of vacation, I was more and more miserable, and the more a little bit of sun would hit it and whatnot. And it got to the point where my thighs, the tops of the thighs, they swelled up in these massive blisters of pus, and they busted open like a watermelon. And so it was this huge cut all the way up each thigh. And the airplane did it. So I got on the airplane, and the fluid filled huge ass blisters on the front of my thighs with the sunburn were just swelling and swelling and swelling. And I got home and I got on the scale, and I was 14 pounds heavier than when I left. And I was like, must have been some good shrimp tacos. No, it was a freaking sunburn. And the fluid to try to whatever it was doing to the sunburn, because then the sunburn busted. And honestly, it was like a watermelon being dropped. Just this pus went everywhere, whatever, right? And so I was wearing shorts, when I was getting my hair braided. And so I'm not freaking kidding you. It looked like I was wearing freaking assless chaps with that sunburn, because my upper thighs and my butt and everything, were white. And then the sunburn from, where the shorts were down, was a severe burn with the blister and whatnot. And so, I mean, I seriously looked like I was wearing assless chaps for like 2 years afterwards. And the sunburn in my scalp, I mean, that was just flaking off and everything. I'm an idiot. Okay? But later in life, when we found out that I actually do have a bona fide allergy to heat and sun, so I actually do, like, a sunburn is an allergic reaction to the sun. My body really takes that seriously and takes the heat part seriously. So if I'm out in the sun, like sunbathing, like I used to do, that can actually put me into anaphylactic shock. The last time I had anaphylactic shock, ended up in the ICU, almost died. It was because I had done the treadmill test for my cardiologist. I started feeling really, really sick about 7 minutes into the treadmill. It told him I couldn't do anymore. And he told me that I was overweight. I'm like, I know I'm fat, but God, I really feel bad about this. And I started driving home. I had to pull over to vomit, and then I had really bad cramps, like I was gonna shit myself. And I raced home, to run into the bathroom, and one side of my face was swollen up, Phantom of the Opera style, and one side of my body was swollen up. My hand looked like an oven mitt. My husband just called 911. He's like, what? And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm dying. And I was in anaphylactic shock. And the ambulance, did 3 rounds of epinephrine and stuff, and didn't even touch it. So I was in the ICU, and they were getting ready to have to do a tracheotomy to keep my airway. My histamine level was at 2,000. A person having a bad allergy attack, they said, would be at 200. Mine was at 2,000. And they had the lab recount it because they had not seen anything like that. And it was, so I have exercise-induced / heat-induced anaphylaxis. So exercise can kill me, so I don't do it. It makes a lot of sense. Anyway, back to a CMA special here. All right, here we go. I'm moving my joints around, my creaky, if you hear the cracking and stuff. Oh, I'm old. All right. Hello. It's so sad when you walk back upstairs. Yes, I'm officially a stalker. At least we can finally talk tomorrow. I missed you. Hence, that's why I've been writing so much. Not that I have anything else to do, not that I have anything to report. No news is good news, right? I hate sitting on the floor in here, although it's not quite as uncomfortable as hours of sitting on my bed. No matter how much booty one has, one can never ever have enough to be double as a cushion. Side note here, Tabitha Jane talking. I've seen some fat asses, and I think they can indeed double as a couch. But anyway, CMA says no, so must be no. So how are you, love? Good, I hope. The clock is ticking, and the days are breezing past. I hope you're finding contentment and peace, even though I know you're anxious. I'm right there with you. But our prayers will prevail for you, and God has a big, and I mean big plans for you. I heard our lovely neighbors chatting again today. The same lunacy and debauchery as usual. When I heard Pearl, or Karen, whatever that was. Side note, that's before Karen was a thing. Maybe the Karens were a thing. I don't know. All right, here we go. Or whatever that was, claim that they will beg for forgiveness. I almost got excited, but sadly the words that followed showed the selfishness behind those words. The saddest part, years ago, said the same thing about, just goes to show that it's not the giving everything to God and asking forgiveness that's important. It's the lifelong journey and the relationship that is key. Granted, during the final days, yes, that will probably be enough. But if we can change that, we will, right? Key in that CMA ministry bus. I really am thankful for this time of growth and reflection. Even though I'm not always the best at showing it, I'm always good. A sincere thank you. But I mean, I know in my heart that's not enough. I'm just glad that he knows my heart, even if I can't verbalize what I'm feeling. It's only that were true for all men and women alike. We would have less enemies, maybe. I came to a realization earlier, and I apologize if I talk about this and you're also stuck reading it. But here goes. You've been blessed with a very powerful gift. You are able to bear your soul, especially in your writing. I continue to pray that God will give you the strength and continue to use that gift, and that you may also embrace the many others you've been given. It's funny, the song goes, I get it from my mama, but really, we get everything from our daddy. Smiling. And remember, she refers to God as daddy. Daddy God. And then it talks about they were able to see each other in the common space right now, but it's best that they're separated. We may never get any sleep otherwise. I'm so jealous of the troublemakers around us who get into fights constantly and curse each other out, and then the others are constantly misbehave, yet they get that constant comfort of a friend, the silver lining. Our friendship is real, and we genuinely care about one another. Plus, we know that we are never alone because we have Him to depend on. How good is our God? He is my daddy, not just my Lord and my Savior. He is so much more. I'm going to let myself get caught up in some good old TV. I need some outside drama to drown out all of the chicas around us. Blah. Love you, sis. Mucho, mucho. Hey, sis, so I started reading this book, The Gift of... It's cut off. And not even 6 page in, I got an epiphany. Crazy, huh? My book or my journals, or I'm not quite sure what I want to do with them yet. I'm going to label them a daily confession, a daily confessional. The more I've been writing lately, the more it feels like I'm confessing not just my thoughts, but every single emotion that I have inside me. I'm one of those people that, well, if I dwell on something and I tend not to remember what it is I'm looking at, but in those moments that are meditation or meditation or prayer, or while engaging myself in another piece of literature, it stops me and slaps me in the face, usually most in the most gentle way. I'm having one of those days, just to tell you guys, this is all like jumbled in here, like, it's just, wow. She writes so frenetically. There's like no space between any of the words. It's just, whoa. I'm going to write down this page and try and show you guys like a picture of this as an example so you guys can see it. So anyway, I'm having one of those days where all I want to do is glue my ear plugs to my head, grab any and every snack in sight, and just veg out. With the constant uproar of emotions around us, it's hard not to want to escape into our own safe little world. The more I think about going home, the more I'm comforted. Every day I wonder how God can fill me with such strength to wake up, eat, sleep soundly, make my bed, read and write in a calm and quiet manner. I'm constantly encouraged by my prayers for you and the fam and for my family. And knowing that our families are continuing to grow no matter the trials in our lives, it's remarkable. To be able to smile every day and to be able to laugh even after everything that has happened, how can we not be grateful for the endless love that He has given us? Every single day I pray for the end of this journey, for our miracles, but I've realized something. We're on two journeys at the same time. Our growth with Christ and the true end of our lives, of our old lives. We have been born again, my sister, and man, does it feel good. I can't wait for you to go home. Yes, it'll be lonely here without you, but knowing that you're happy suits me just fine. Something that I've been pondering, and it's sitting very clearly in my mind. I guess my heart finally decided to share. As long as you are close to my heart, nothing can break that bond, that love. No matter how many miles are between us, we can and will overcome anything and everything in ours. Family is family. Keep Clay close to your heart. Don't ever give up hope. God's love will get us through it all. This love is unconditional. He feels your pain, your sorrow, your pain, your sorrow. His pain and his sorrows, your tears and his tears. When you are laughing, he is laughing too. What comfort, what love. I love you, my friend, my sister. Well, let's make it through this and we will achieve greatness, for he has given us both great power and it will not be wasted. Ciao. Can you start smuggling me some toilet paper? I hate running out and not having a backup. Ha ha. And then 12509. By George, Las Chicos are too loud. If only there was a max volume button one could press, or a mute button. So at any moment, it could be completely silent in here. Most of our neighbors need tranquilizers. Sorry, I'm feeling silly. I didn't get to watch my stories today, thanks to someone randomly sitting in there for 3 hours. Boo. 2 days in a row, no stories. Oh well, I wish I would have gone in anyway, because of a stupid tour group that came through. I could do without there's Casey Anthony comments for the rest of my life. Blah, a bunch of stupid high school kids who were overly immature, but it's not just them. I'd expect them to be stuck in the celebrity hoopla, but it's been even worse when adults have come through for some reason. I'm interesting to people, eh? Whatever. I don't need or want the attention, but when I'm thrust into it within the next few months, I'll be sure to glorify God with every smile that sweeps across my face and with every word that I speak. Take that, America. I kid. Off the cuff, Tabitha Jane here. Did you hear that? Did you hear how she refers to herself as a celebrity? And this is, in January. So they had found Kaylee's remains mid December, I believe, mid to late December. So that was going on, and this is her headspace. These letters are out of order, but this one, is dated, so it's a trip to see this. And like I've said, I am not a therapist, I'm not a diagnostician, but what we see here is these are traits of somebody with borderline personality disorder, and this is called love bombing. And so what she has done is just globbed onto Robyn to just focus and put all of her energy on her and just absolutely love bomb her. Now, I also think that she has DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. And a lot of people think that, is something that they've seen by certain celebrities and whatnot, where they really go into a whole nother persona and out of body experiences, etc., etc. It's on a continuum, and her dissociative identity disorder is in that she can disassociate from a certain situation to her advantage. So she is disassociating from the reality that she is looking at life in prison. She knows what happened to her daughter. Whether or not she chloroformed her daughter and put that tight piece of tape around her mouth, or she found that her daughter had drowned and was on her watch. She'd been maybe taking one of these naps. Either way, she knew that her daughter was not alive. And this is her headspace, not even 6 months out of whatever happened, because, we don't know exactly what day whatever happened. But if we're looking at the January time frame, this, it's mesmerizing. The love bombing is something that I should talk about in a video. And borderline personality disorder is also on a continuum. A lot of people who self-harm get it placed on them because it's a way for someone who needed or needs inpatient therapy can get the rubber stamp for insurance to approve it very quickly. If they see the borderline personality disorder label, they are like, okay, this person needs inpatient because they have self-harmed. It's a continuum. This love bombing is just something else with her, though. A lot of ink smears and whatnot. So, like I say, I think that she writes on both sides of the paper, and so sometimes that's what's kind of hard to read through. Okay, back to it. Here we go. Take that, America. I can't. Oh, well, I wish we could talk more. I miss my friend. I'm trying to manage a plan to get my butt upstairs, but someone always ends up taking my spot in 20. Part of Sergeant Richardson's idea was to put me in one of the corners, but the most logical corners would be 20 or 21 or 32. That way I'm right next to the staircase. I heard someone say that when I'm the only PC left, I can go wherever I want. Why not now? You're the reason I want to move. I'll figure something out. Okay, get it? PC. So she is in protective custody. It makes sense that she was in protective custody because of her high profile nature, and how it is well known that prisoners do not take kindly to other prisoners that are in there for harming a child. She would be a very high profile target for somebody to kill for the sake of killing, especially if they're in there for a life. What do they have to lose? They could take out Casey Anthony, and then, they'd be infamous for that. Just a second. Ooh, what you doing? What you doing, Casey? What you doing? All right. Sorry about that. The cats are walking around. I think they turned on the light. So, that's why she has the TV. That's why she has like TV and stuff. And she's able to take a shower and not, have to be in it with a bunch of people and stuff. That's why. That's why she didn't have razors either. You can have a razor for bathing in jail. And she wasn't able to. So when she was staying in the house, she couldn't wait. She could finally shave her legs. So Bet you that clogged up the whole septic system. Okay. I can be reasonably creative sometimes. I haven't heard anything about my family today via radio, thankfully, except for talk of a Kaylee tribute and some hick from Louisiana selling 3 voodoo dolls on eBay. Oh, a Kaylee tribute doll. That's what she wrote. Guess who it's supposed to be? Jose told me last night that he already hired me another attorney to deal with those things. Sigh. Another day, another series of rumors and ridiculousness. The life of a celebrity, huh? Oh, gag me. If only I were old and ugly, then they wouldn't care. Sad that those words have come from people in the media, not just me. And I guess stupid bleep bleep Nancy Grace was on The View talking about me. Really? What a joke. Crazy bitch will have a lawsuit of a lifetime. Really? Only in hopes of getting her kicked off of TV. Yeah, I'm a bitch. You blame me. Nah. I really hope that we can talk tonight, but it's so hard to mouth something coherent in steady rhythms. Tabitha Jane here. Don't come for nanners. You leave Nancy alone. CMA. She was only telling the truth. Okay? You didn't file a lawsuit. Not that happened to nanners. Okay? Alright, here we go. Yes, I'm a bitch. Blame me? Nah, I really hope we can talk tonight, but it's so hard to mouth something coherent in steady rhythms. We'll have our letters, though. How's the fam? Are things better with the Madre and Padre? How about the Munchkins? And any word on Clay? Is he supposed to be going to Coleman or somewhere else? And last question, is he going to retain an attorney to appeal his plea? I think he should. Oh, have you heard about the recalls on peanut butter? I'm tossing my peanut butter cookies. Scary stuff. Many companies, including Little Debbie, Peter Pan, and other cracker companies, are recommending that we don't consume any peanut butter products until they are able to test them out for salmonella and some other contagious viruses. Not good. Okay, Tabitha Jane here. CMA, you're in jail. Are you really afraid of peanut butter contamination? Are you? I think that that's the least of your freaking concerns. And if you are faced with the jail baloney, or all of these wonderful snacks that you get because people were padding your commissary because there's people more psycho than you. You had all these snacks. People beg for snacks. And you have a whole freaking drawer, a variety of them. If I were in jail, I'd welcome a little salmonella so I could maybe get a trip to the ER. Go and see the outdoors. This woman, she wants to be very careful with herself, doesn't she? She loves herself very much. And side note, I remember that peanut butter recall thing because there was this place that I would get this espresso drink from when I would take the kids to the park in Vegas, and it was so good. It had chocolate and peanut butter and espresso in it. It was called the Funky Monkey, in fact. I think it even had a banana. And this thing was everything to me. I'd go and get one of those and I could, I could be the best mom I could be. I didn't need a silly sticker. I needed my Funky Monkey. But then they stopped making them because they couldn't put peanut butter in them. And I'm like, I am willing to take the chances. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to stop for now and try to have Shannon hand this off. Love ya. See you later, loves. And then it says numero dos. So the weather's crappy and it's creepy and dark. I'm not quite sure why, but I hate the way that the common area looks on a stormy day. It seems to make this place look even quieter and more depressing. Boo. I stayed up almost all night reading, maybe getting a combined 6 hours of sleep since breakfast. I was starting to get nervous about going to court tomorrow. Yeah, you should be. Not that I should be. Oh my God. The motions we filed are routine and nothing to get my insides all silly. But the idea of seeing my mom in person for the first time in over 3.5 months, I'm not sure how I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm glad that I'll get to see my boys later on. Most likely with a message from my mom, including an update on my dad. And if it wasn't for the big dance this weekend, I'd expect to see my brother as well. That's the only thing I have to look forward to tomorrow. Definitely not leaving here and being granted or being gawked at, and obviously being in front of a camera is the last thing I want, let alone knowing that I'll be one of the major stories as of tomorrow morning, afternoon, and evening. I keep praying that someone would change the situation last night and that I wouldn't have to see my mug on the tube. And big surprise, my piece of shit ex fiance was featured again. Really? Some man of God. I got God's message last night, though. I need to forgive Jesse for being a creep and for taking advantage of Kaylee and I yet again. I've forgiven him, but I will never forget how he treated her and I before, and I will never forget him trying to capitalize off of us now. Everyone sees him for the joke that he is, and he has no one to blame but himself. But of course, the idiots in the media love a controversy. Idiots. God is on my side, and that knowledge will continue to fuel my fire. The lamp of my body is my eye, and I am seeing things clearer than ever before. Ugh. And you know what really stinks? My period has been totally irregular, meaning never ending. One day on, one day off. My boobs are still sore. Always have the best cleavage during that special time. Those, even if my tummy is aching and bloating. The joys of being a woman. You know what I just thought about? You'll laugh at me, but you think that men's toilets are as low as ours? If so, I wouldn't brag about how great it is to pee standing up. At least we have our privacy. So what if someone sees me sitting? At least they can't tell the difference between my actions. Big smile. Ah, yes, I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and in need of a nice hot shower, a massage, and a nice long nap. 2 out of 3 ain't so bad. Pray that I can sleep tonight and that I look fabulous tomorrow. Yikes, the demons in this place are running rampant today. This place terrifies me, no doubt about it. It's time for my shower. Ciao, Cookie, love ya. Hey girl, I wanted to have held off writing this a day or so, but I needed to collect my thoughts. The past couple of days have not been good to say the least. I'm not sure if you heard about my dad or not. It's been all over the radio, and I know that everything has been bouncing around every station. I can't believe he tried to take his own life. What is he thinking? There's something else going on, and I don't like the feeling that I've had since I found out Friday morning. Sorry, but why did I choose to write now? It was so quiet for all of 3 minutes. All of a sudden, the monkeys start throwing poo all over again. Why can't we order earplugs? Ugh, I miss you, sis. I wish that we could talk directly. You're going through so much yourself, and I hate seeing the fear in your eyes when you walk downstairs. How are you holding up? In the midst of all my grief and horror, you're still on my mind and practically the center of my prayers. What can I do to help you? There are so many unknowns in both of our lives. I don't even know where to start. I hate this place, and I despise every moment here. But I know that I still have a few more months easily to deal with all of the bullshit going on outside these protective walls. We'll both be home soon, but not before another trial or two in both of our lives. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here. The enemy continues to attack, and I almost give in to my tears and my weakness. Have you ever thought about just giving up? Yeah, I know you have. We talked about it many times. I feel that too many times, but thankfully I keep coming back to God. I wonder daily how I'm going to deal with the next of it, the drama and all the stupid cliche runs through my head. What doesn't kill me will make me stronger. I hate those words. I truly do. When are we going to sit on the beach, drinking cocktails and planning our future business? I can't wait for that day, and I know it will come soon enough. In the meantime, I pray that I find patience. I love you, sis. Keep your head up high. Read Job 23. I read it yesterday, and your name swept through my mind. Hasta. Saturday, January 24th. And then it didn't say, maybe that was the end of that one. It was on January 24th. Because then we are at January 27th, 2009. Hello, Cookie dear. Yes, that is your new nickname. Just Cookie is much better than Cookie Monster. You've called me Muffin. What an attachment to food we both have. Guilty as charged. So I was trying to fall back asleep after breakfast and a book idea came to me. I'm thinking about a partial memoir, comedy, relationship advice for those not in the know. I'll keep praying about it and see how God feels about it. It's a way to settle many rumors and to share my insight about love, life, and most important, God who knows. I just got another letter from my friend Ray, the author of the book I let you borrow. He finished his second volume of his memoir, Stronger Than Ever, and his contract has been extended so that he will be able to write more books and continue to share his stories and his charity. His charities are taking shape. I'm so happy for his success and how he has touched his life in an incredible way. And God has touched his life in an incredible way. And I'm glad that he is able to show how he has grown and persevered through his faith in our glorious Father. Always good to hear good news. I get to see my mommy in 2 days. I'm very excited. But I wish I were able to actually spend time with her while being stuck in court. Either way, God has answered both of our prayers at this point. I'll take 5 minutes in the presence of a loved one over anything else in the world, even 5 bags of grandma's cookies. Smiley face. Yes, I know. I'm a smartass. But you love me. That's what sisters are for. Thanks for your constant advice, encouragement, and prayers. You're always so good at bringing tears to my eyes, putting a smile on my face, and peace to my ice-cold heart. Lots of letters and faith and encouragement, and even some laughs today. 28 out of 30 were keepers. Not bad at all. I'm thankful for one positive letter, especially if it is from my cookie or my mama. Thank you for reaching out to my folks. I know that they'll appreciate your kind words and your prayers. I'm going to brief my mom so she knows to expect it. She's great at sending thank you notes, cards, and letters, but I must warn you. If she handwrites it and gets emotional, you may need a translator. Oh, I miss her. She's down to like 118 to 120, size 4, and hasn't been that tiny since just after I was born. Tabitha Jane's side note here. She was really tiny. She lost a lot of weight from the stress in the trial. And then, after the verdict, who ate Cindy Anthony? Like, she was freaking twice the size of herself. Like literally, it looked like somebody ate her and, like, puffed her up. I mean, stress is so cruel to our bodies. She went down and then she went up. And I think that she stayed up. I think that, Cindy was a very active person in being the sole provider for that house because George couldn't keep a frickin' job. She had supported, both kids and her husband and kept that house, for all of the years, working as a nurse and caring for her parents and caring for her granddaughter. So I think she was very, very active naturally, and she just didn't have any reserves. So then the stress of the trial just pushed her down. And then when she was able to just kind of put everything there and kind of just be alone with her depression and grief, I think that it took its toll on her. It's really sad. So I'm going to tell her to wear something of mine to court on Friday. Because she lost weight. So she was like, why don't you want to wear some of my clothes on? How nice of you, CMA. You're so wonderful and benevolent. Lord knows she might be wearing my stuff anyway. Going from an 8 to 10 to a 4, big change. At least she's eating better and taking better care of herself. Cindy Lou is a trooper. The boys say she looks great, which is a relief in itself because she put her heart in God's hands and he's definitely taking care of her. He is so good. Your comment about the stools, hilarious. How did you know that I would look? Ha ha ha. Good call. Mine are kind of tannish with tons of red spots, juice stains from setting the untouched juice cartons on them. What? reporting on Casey Marie Anthony's turds. So she's saying that her turds are kind of tannish with tons of red spots. Juice stains from setting the untouched juice cartons on them. Because it goes, your comment about the stools. Hilarious. How did you know that would look? Haha, good call. Mine are kind of tannish with tons of red spots. Juice stains from setting the untouched juice cartons on them. She's talking about like something to sit on stools that are kind of tannish with tons of red spots because that would make juice containers. But why would you look at the stools? Uh, it is 3:51 a.m., folks, and Tabitha Jane is wondering if Casey Marie Anthony is indeed reporting about the turds that come out of her ample ass or the chairs. Going on to page 3, folks. Here we are again. Last night I made a little keepsake to take to court with me whenever I have to go. I grabbed one of my favorite pictures of Case, taped it to a sheet of drawing paper, and wrote Isaiah 40:31 on the back. My mom sent me that scripture weeks back after I had mentioned it to her before. I have instant comfort. I saw birds flying around outside the other day, and I only wish that they were eagles or doves. To have that freedom to be born to fly, if I could have one superpower, that'd be it. What about you? Did you get an update on the Coleman brawl from your dad? It was on the men's side. I went to ORMC. 8 in total were injured. Of all of the places in the state, that's your best bet. But how glorious would it be if the only place you ended up was home? I will continue to pray that that's the only place you will go when you leave, that these walls is back home to your familia and your casa and your damn Skippy. And that's what we'll keep in touch. I'm with you on the Super Bowl. As far as the Pats are concerned, funny that the Steelers are considered the underdogs this year. The Steelers. We'll see how much the game goes on Sunday. I'm actually indifferent on whether or not I will watch it. Probably not. I'll catch bits and pieces on the radio if it comes down to it. I'm glad Shannon's situation didn't get blown too highly out of proportion. But believe me, I was in tears when you told me, and one thing I hate more than being told what to do is being reprimanded. Did anyone talk to you about it? Not me. It seems to have been pretty much low-key, hopefully stupid rats. It's one thing to tattletale when it's something that is serious, but what ifs? Jerk's Operation Black Book is going well so far. Let's hope we can keep her quiet. Operation Green Grasshopper survived a long time. It wasn't until the massacre of Operation Stupid Teal linguistic book took place that I ever doubted our system. We'll keep it sneaky, and if all else fails, deny. God is watching over us, and he found a way to silently, well, almost silently reprimand us for gossiping. One way of looking at it, have you finished that book yet? I'm really looking forward to Ray's second. Oh, and in that book you gave me last night, I have to show you, the author enclosed a picture from growing up, and he looks like someone I know all too well. Just wait, I showed Shannon last night and she cracked up. So whether you meant to or not, you brought me one heck of a laugh last night. Besides you and your invisible step, I hope you get some quality time out. Even a few minutes are better than nothing. My pen keeps clogging and leaking. Grr. I'll see you shortly. Dinner time. Yay. Love ya, my sister. Okay, so now we have one from Robyn, and it is dated January 25th, 2009. Hey sis, I'm glad that you had a good visit today. I had a good talk with my boys last night. That's when I found out about my dad. Got updates about my mom. She's doing well and heard about going to court on Friday. Joy. At least I'll get to see my mama. I'm excited. You know what? I just messed up. This is Casey. She was talking about her boys being her lawyers. And her handwriting is really different. Okay, here we go. We're going to restart. Hey sis, I'm glad you had a good visit today. I had a good talk with my boys last night. That's when I found out about my dad, got updates about my mom. She's doing well and heard about going to court on Friday, Joy. At least I'll get to see my mama. I'm excited. Did you hear about the riot at Coleman, the prison you were originally supposed to go to? Boy, what a mess. It was all over the radio yesterday, and I'm sure it will be good today. I'm so thankful that Jose came through and that you and Mike and Michelle agreed to take your case. They're very good friends of mine, and they're working on my case as well. Jose and Mike go way back. They both practiced in Miami before Jose moved up here. That's where we were hoping to have my trial for numerous reasons. Very little media exposure, lots of additional resources, including the Walshes, and of course, Sun and Sand. I shaved my arms this morning, and dude, I definitely could stand a little bit of color. Yikes, I'm not pasty, thank God, but I'm still pretty light. Oh well, white girl syndrome. So the Super Bowl is this weekend. I'd be more excited if there was a team I actually cared about. Arizona, Cardinals, and Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, great. I told my brother I'm expecting an autograph or two. Lucky guy. He's been out there all month getting things set up for his company. Who wouldn't want to be a project manager for the biggest football game of the year? I sure would. And that's that. We are at 258 of 258, folks. That's it. That's all she wrote. Literally, that's all she wrote. So, where does that bring us today in real time? Well, since Casey Marie Anthony was acquitted, nobody has really seen her. I mean, there's been rumors of her popping up here and then, but for the most part, she is very, very, maybe her and NK, maybe her and, NK are roommates somewhere. They both have black hair. They like to fuck men who have a good and available ding dong. Maybe they're roommates. Maybe they're in some little shack together with Casey's traveling ministry. Maybe. So, where are we? I mean, basically, you don't see her. You haven't. I mean, I expected that she would have made a book deal or an Oprah deal to talk. She can't be retried. She went through the whole trial, and they found her not guilty. They didn't find her innocent, but they could not prove. The state did not bring a strong enough case to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was responsible for the death of her daughter. They didn't. Bottom line, we do not know where, when, how, what happened. That was the problem. Did she pull off the perfect murder. She might have. Every day that sweet little Kaylee was out there in the elements made the chances of Casey being convicted less likely. Had they have listened to Ray Kronk when he first called in his suspicions of there being remains in that woodsy area near their house, there would have been a lot more DNA and a much bigger probability of her being convicted. The part that haunts me about this case was the possibility that Kaylee's mouth was wrapped with duct tape. The duct tape that was found had Kaylee's hair in it and tissue. That meant that the tape was not just put around the layers of material that she was put in when she was disposed of. I look at it and I'm like, did she just snap? Did she want one of her famous naps? Had she been up all night and she wanted Kaylee to just nap, and Kaylee was crying and Casey flipped the fuck out and duct taped her mouth and threw her in bed as a punishment and came back in 5 minutes and she wasn't alive? What about the chloroform searches on the computer? They could have only been done in the time frame when Casey was home. Who researches how to make chloroform? Was she giving Kaylee chloroform to sleep while she was out? Was she putting Kaylee in the trunk while she would go out and she knew that Kaylee would be asleep in the trunk for a couple of hours? All of these things are not answered in my head. And I think that one of those possibilities is the truth, and that is why Casey has not came forward with a book deal or the big Oprah interview. If it was something somewhat innocent, where she had fallen asleep, woke up, found the slider door open, and she had left that gate, that little stair thing to that backyard pool that they had, that, Cindy always said, take those stairs away so Kaylee can't climb up and get in that pool when no one's watching. Well, Casey kept forgetting to pull it and put it away. So Casey fell asleep, wake up, the slider door is open, as it was proven that Kaylee could open. And did Kaylee go in, climb in, and drown? And Casey found her drowned. Georgia just came in from doing God knows what. And they both panicked and wrapped her up and disposed of her in the woods. Why wouldn't either of them have called 911 and tried to have her resuscitated? Was the drowning gone for that long that they knew that it was going to be negligence and they went with that? Why did the dogs smell decomp in the backyard by the playhouse? Decomp was in the trunk of her car through the gas chromonometer, or however you say that. As was Kaylee's hair with the stripe of decomposition on it. Not like hair that, just fell out when I was talking about mine. That the hair that was in the back of Casey's trunk had this band of decomposition on it, which showed that it was in Casey's head while she was decomposing. We can see through these letters that Casey has the ability to completely disassociate herself. What other human being would be in jail knowing that either they killed their daughter or their daughter had accidentally died? Either way, their daughter died. And that they are facing the rest of their days in jail. Who would look at this as, I'm a celebrity, I'm going to smile at you. What's my commissary order going to be today? I'm going to be on a beach someday soon. Sorry to you, Robyn, Sucks that, you're going to be there for 10 years, but I'm getting out in a few weeks. Can you imagine the resentment that Robyn truly felt watching her, seeing all this commissary that she got, special privileges that she gets? Because Robyn isn't a criminal. She's a person who started growing marijuana with her husband. Sounds like it was her husband's idea. Her husband, being a former Altamonte Springs police officer, probably got sick of seeing how much money drug dealers were making selling marijuana versus what he was making putting his life in danger every day. He wanted just a little piece. He's like, why don't we grow? Why don't we grow a little weed? Why don't we sell a little stock? She did, because she supported him, and it was a way for them to have extra money. These aren't people that need to be in prison. He was a police officer, she was a mother. What good does jail and prison for 10 years each of them do? How did that affect their children? I don't know that they've had to serve the full sentence. The one good thing it sounds like is that by Robyn befriending Casey, Casey talked about how much she loved Robyn enough that they took on her case, and I hope that they got her out. What good does jail do? I mean, the amount of money that we put in people each year to be behind bars and their kids, and there needs to be better restorative justice programs. Our system is broken, absolutely broken. So, People magazine reported that Casey filed paperwork to launch a service for people who were facing serious legal issues, especially those that are wrongfully accused, especially women. She listed herself on the paperwork as a registered agent. The address listed on this paperwork for this company, this registered agent that she would be for this service, the address listed is that of one Patrick McKenna. He was the lead investigator for her trial. Now, one would look at that and say, registered agent, does that mean that she's a PI? And the answer would be no. She cannot be a PI or a state licensed investigator because she is a convicted felon. She was convicted of those 4 counts of lying to a police officer and did serve the time for that. So she got credit for the time served she was in, and then had to stay, a few months after her acquittal. Again, I wonder, who is the most hated female in America? Is it Nicole Kissinger? Is it Casey Anthony? Is it Jodi Arias? Who's the most hated man? Scott Peterson, or Chris Watts. Now, in the interview since the trial, George Anthony, Casey's father, recovered from his suicide attempt. He had, went to that motel and took a bunch of pills and drank alcohol. He had overdosed and he was found in time. And that's good. Because Cindy needs him. Cindy couldn't have taken the loss of him. Even with whatever a piece of shit husband he is, she couldn't have taken the loss of him. So, since that time, in interviews, George Anthony has stated that he believes that Casey was using chloroform on Kaylee. This was reported in Crime Watch Daily in 2017. He specifically said that he thought that Casey was giving Kaylee something to make her sleep. Could have been chloroform, his words. And that one of the times she just didn't wake up. It's a possibility. Now, Cindy, Casey's mother, according to Crime Watch Daily, believes that Kaylee drowned in the swimming pool. That was mainly the defense's version of events. That's what Baez came forth with. And so ultimately Cindy came around to believing that theory. She doesn't believe that there was anything nefarious involved in the death of Kaylee. She believes it was an accidental drowning. She does believe that Kaylee was not being properly supervised by Casey. That indeed the fault of the accident, that she believes it was an accident, the fault of the accident is Casey's, in that Casey was not paying proper attention to Kaylee. That it was indeed that Casey was distracted with something. Whether it's a computer or the phone, whatever, a nap, that she was distracted and Kaylee drowned. So George and Cindy don't agree on what happened. They are still together, reportedly. Now, do you guys remember? All I can remember, is during that the funeral was televised, and Lee, the brother, was screaming out, "CMA, CMA, CMA." Well, CMA stands for Cindy Marie Anthony, Casey Marie Anthony, and Kaylee Marie Anthony. So who exactly was the CMA? Now, Lee went on to have a son. His son is named Parker Lee Anthony. And he was born August 22nd of 2013. That makes him 9. And Cindy and George reportedly just love Parker. That Parker gives George and Cindy a reason to live. And they have stated that Parker, in fact, saved their lives. And that was again, that was also in the Crime Watch Daily 2017 article. Now, I mean, Cindy and George are together, but they admit that theirs is a strained marriage. And in an interview that they were on A&E in 2018, they were being interviewed. And here's a big scoop. Hold on. Hold on before I get this bombshell here. Okay, so bombshell tonight. Cindy and George were sitting there in this interview. And Cindy started getting pissy because George was sitting over there playing the victim, saying that, he's always blamed for his daughter's mistakes. And basically George is over there playing the martyr. And Cindy reached up and just frickin' said, she lunges at George and she goes, Casey learned by example. You lied to me for several years, and that is where your daughter got it. And she stormed out. And she was yelling at George the whole time. And she's like, don't deny it. And George goes, shut up. And then George was like, whoops. That was my payday. And he went and ran after Cindy. And Cindy was bawling. And Cindy apologized to the interviewer for her actions. Now, in that interview, it was an A&E special. And the prosecutor, Jeff Ashton, I did not like him at all. He flubbed up this case so bad. He's an idiot. I read his book, afterwards, trying to make sense out of it. And it's like, dude, you just didn't do your job. And I mean, yeah, you were going to retire or whatever, and this was your last case. You might have wanted to pass the torch before. He screwed up. He really did. And oddly enough, he has remained friends with the Anthonys. Close friends, in fact, reportedly. And Jeff states that George was the reason for the acquittal. Jeff warned the Anthonys that Baez's plan was going to throw George under the bus. That essentially they were going to save the daughter from life in prison, but George's reputation was going to go. That they were going to get up there and say that George was this molester and the whole entire country was going to hate George. But it was going to give them their daughter back. That they had lost Kaylee and that they shouldn't also lose Casey. That while George's reputation was going to be stomped, their daughter was not going to serve life in prison. To know that the prosecutor was talking to the Anthonys behind the scenes and kind of letting them know this is what's going to happen is kind of, I think that's nice, because when Baez walked in there with his weird rat face and rotund belly and toucan Sam nose, little short legs, big torso, and just comes in there and just screams, that George is this molester and blah, 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 blah. And that, every day of Casey's life, she was, getting abused and, essayed. And George is just sitting there looking like this shell of a man. It's nice to know that that wasn't a shock. It's nice to know that Jeff Ashton had came to them and said, "Hey, look, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get thrown under the bus." So it wasn't a shock because they focused on George when they were saying it. I'll remember that day forever. They're sitting there and they got the camera to see how he's going to react, and George didn't react. You could see him working his jaw. I remember that. You could see his jaw just kind of being worked. But anybody else would be like, "What the F?" And they would have stood up and started throwing poo. I don't know, but I mean, you would have to lock me up, try and say lies like that, I mean, and George just sat there, and it took its toll. So, like I say, I mean, they, Jeff Ashton and the Anthonys agree that George was the reason for the acquittal, that they were able to use George as kind of this cog in the wheel and put the focus on him to save the daughter. And in that, Jeff Ashton kind of tries to explain that the verdict was not about George. It wasn't George's actions that caused the acquittal and possibly miscarriage of justice. That the verdict was, in fact, about Casey. And that the focus needs to remain on Casey and her behavior and her role in what happened to her daughter and how she was not taking proper care of her daughter and was not acting like the mother. In fact, she was just acting like a sibling, it sounds like. And Jeff Ashton also says that the problem with the verdict was the jurors. And he says that there was so much evidence, that the evidence really was there. But when it came down to it, the jurors just simply did not want to convict her. It's an interesting statement from Jeff Ashton because, like I say, he did not prove the case to me. He did not prove the case to the jury. Now, we don't know what evidence was not able to be brought in. In so many trials, there's, tons of evidence that gets thrown out. And one of the problems that is being discussed right now about our current judicial system is that so much of the evidence gets thrown out because it's too graphic for the jurors. It may upset the jurors too much. Well, how does that serve the victim? Sorry that their murder was too gross and might be too disturbing for some people. Why should it have to be watered down for others to accept it? That's not justice. And who is it that is interpreting what is and isn't too much for a jury to palate? George was seen in that interview taking down the memorial for Kaylee, sorry, where her remains were found, the white cross that was there and whatnot. George went and dismantled it, and he was questioned about it, and he said it was just too painful. It was too painful for them to drive by and see that memorial and know that that's where Haley's body was, and they were done. They wanted to move on. They wanted closure. That he took it down. He dismantled it himself. And Cindy, so Casey's mom, talks to Casey. Cindy was in the hospital last year, and Casey was there for her, worried about her mom and whatnot. And George does not talk to Casey. That George, in fact, says that he never ever wants to talk to Casey again. That in George's mind, he feels he lost both his granddaughter and daughter in that time period in 2008. That he lost them both in 2008, and that's it. He's moved forward. He never wants to see her or talk to her ever again in his life. I want to look into what happened with Robyn's sentence. And I had not heard about these letters. I guess that these letters were leaked in 2019. And I don't know. I mean, I had not heard anything about them. I mean, it was 2019. I was working a lot then. I was a little worker bee woman. And I can't recall hearing anything about it. I stopped watching HLN when they got away from really I liked the way that they had the talk show style news coverage in the evening. Ashley Banfield. Oh, and Jane Velez Mitchell. And Jane Velez Mitchell was down in Vegas covering the OJ trial when I lived down there. And so was Beth Karras. And I went to go and talk to them one day. I waited till my husband got home from work, and they were wrapping up for the day, and they just got in their vehicles, and I chased after them. Hello, and they waved at me. And that was a wonderful moment for me, that Beth Karras and Jane Velez Mitchell waved at me. I'm easily entertained, as you can tell. Did you guys hear about these letters? Let me know. I had not heard anything about them. And, I think in somebody's chat the other day, I don't know if it was Mia's or something, but when something came across my feed, I don't know who was saying it. Someone in somebody's chat was saying that Casey Anthony lived around the corner from them or something. I don't know. Did you guys see that too? I think that it's funny because there's this little community of people, that goes in the chats, and they all kind of know each other. And, it's kind of like, going for your local honky tonk bar kind of meeting, these chat groups. And they just they talk about each other, or they talk to each other, not about each other. They talk to each other back and forth, and it's funny. They talk to each other, but then a lot of times they are really talking about things that the person hosting the channel and the chat isn't talking about. They're holding their own conversation. And I saw one pass by, and they were talking about schlongs. And I don't think that the creator knew, because I don't know that she'd be entertained by the schlong talk. But who knows? I don't know that creator. Never heard of them. So anyway, thank you so much for going on this journey in the leaked letters of Casey Marie Anthony. I will try and take a couple of pictures of some of her writing style so you guys can see this on my community page. If you liked what I've done here, please make sure that you like and that you're subscribed, and make sure that you stay subscribed, because even my favorite creators, I'll look and I'll suddenly be like unsubscribed from them, and I won't know what happened, and so I don't know why that happens or whatnot. But make sure you're all subscribed from me. And like I say, hopefully we'll be able to do some lives when I'm recovering, and I'll be all hopped up on pain medication. That'll be fun for you guys. But I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and thank you so much for listening. And we have just concluded all of the Casey Marie Anthony letters, all 258 pages of them. Thanks for going on this journey with me. Thank you all. Bye-bye.